Hello, and welcome back to Sports Facts for Sleep. Tonight, our journey begins with the quiet history of the Super Bowl, mergers, commercials, halftime, ASMR sleep story. We're going to be talking about a game that is anything but quiet, but we'll explore its history in a calm, soothing way, a way that just eases your mind and lets you drift. Just ease your mind now, taking a long, quiet breath in and letting everything go. Let's forget about the bright lights, the loud cheers, the high-stakes passes, and just focus on the quiet journey of how this magnificent spectacle came to be, the entity that is the Super Bowl. Cruising through the 1960s, a time of fierce rivalry, two leagues, the established NFL and the ambitious newcomer, the AFL. They competed so intensely, fighting over star players, bidding wars, a real battle for the heart of professional football. But eventually, in June of 1966, the executives realized that two giants are stronger when they stand together, and they agreed to merge by 1970. And in the interim, they needed a single final game, the one game to rule them all, to determine the world champion of professional football. Quite a clunky name, isn't it? That official name, the AFL-NFL World Championship Game, faded quickly, thanks to the imagination of one man, Lamar Hunt. He was inspired by his children and their toy, a bright, bouncing little ball known as the Super Ball. And so, the game informally became known as the Super Bowl. The name was officially adopted for Super Bowl III in January 1969, just a few years later, a wonderful, simple accident of history. Now let's go back to the very first one, Super Bowl I, January 15, 1967. It was held in Los Angeles, the Memorial Coliseum. The Green Bay Packers from the NFL played the Kansas City Chiefs from the AFL. The Packers won 35-10. But here is the detail, the strange, almost unbelievable detail. This first historic championship game did not sell out. By 1970, the merger was complete. The NFL had consolidated into two great arms, the American Football Conference, the AFC, and the National Football Conference, the NFC. Each year since, the winner of the AFC meets the winner of the NFC. The structure was set, the foundation was poured. In the 1970s and 80s, the Super Bowl solidified its place on television, but in the 1990s, it transformed into a cultural phenomenon. This is where the magic truly starts, and it was driven by two things, the halftime show and the commercials. The commercials, the quiet stories. One ad in particular, a 60-second spot for Apple in 1984, changed the game forever. It was cinematic, dramatic, and only aired once, solidifying the idea that these slots were not just ads, but events. But the ads didn't always need high technology. Sometimes they just needed heart. Think about the classic quiet moments, like the Coca-Cola Mean Joe Green ad from 1980. A tough football player, a quiet moment with a young fan, and a bottle of soda. Or the enduring, slow-moving majesty of the Budweiser Clydesdales, gentle giants pulling a magnificent wagon, sometimes through snow, often featuring a quiet, emotional connection with a puppy or a horse, a peaceful annual tradition. Then came the halftime show, a shift in spectacle. The halftime show had a quiet beginning, a marching band era, featuring large performing groups like the classic Up With People. But then, in 1993, everything changed. Super Bowl 27, the performance by Michael Jackson, was the watershed moment. It set a new, towering standard for scale, for celebrity involvement, and for production value. The halftime show was now a massive, highly anticipated concert event. Even the biggest spectacle experiences moments of quiet difficulty, moments when the world stops watching the game and watches the silence. In 2013, during the second half of the game in New Orleans, the lights simply went out, a graceful, unplanned pause. The entire stadium held its breath for 34 minutes, an unexpected moment of stillness, giving everyone a chance to just listen to the quiet hum of the night and the gentle whispers of the crowd waiting. And then there were moments of scrutiny. In 2004, a technical hiccup during the halftime show led to massive public attention. This momentary burst of focus forced networks to examine every detail, leading to a new, stricter focus on professional perfection in all broadcasts. Finally, there are the hushed whispers of integrity, like the famous debate over football pressures, the smallest details bringing the biggest conversations. It reminds us that every single part of this giant spectacle, from the largest field to the tiniest drop in air pressure, is always under a public watch, an ongoing observation. As we move into the 2010s and today, the game became integrated with our digital lives. Social media commentary, real-time reactions, memes, the conversation expanded beyond the television screen, flowing across all our devices. The Super Bowl became an unofficial national holiday, a massive gathering, all focused on the game, the food, the ads, the concert. We look at our key milestones now, just a few facts before we rest. 1971, Super Bowl V, the first game played under the finalized AFC versus NFC structure. 1985, Super Bowl XIX, the first one attended by a sitting U.S. president, Ronald Reagan. 2020, Super Bowl had performances by Jennifer Lopez and Shakira. And recently, 2024, Super Bowl 58, Usher headlined the show, celebrating the richness of R&B and hip-hop, a modern, smooth spectacle. The headliner for the Super Bowl 58, 2024 halftime show was Usher. He was joined by several special guest performers during his set: Alicia Keys, H.E.R., Will.i.am, Lil Jon, Ludacris, Jermaine Dupri. In addition to the halftime show, the pre-game ceremonies featured National Anthem by Reba McEntire, America the Beautiful by Post Malone, and Lift Every Voice and Sing by Andra Day. Modern Super Bowl ads are defined by high production value, major celebrity involvement, and leveraging viral/social media moments. The average cost for a 30-second spot during Super Bowl 58, 2024, was around $7 million, not including the cost of production or celebrity fees. Standout commercials from Super Bowl 58 were Dunkin', The Dunkings. This ad was a fan favorite, featuring Ben Affleck reprising his Dunkin' obsession, Matt Damon, Tom Brady, and Jennifer Lopez as they try to launch a celebrity boy band called The Dunkings. It perfectly blended celebrity humor with self-awareness. State Farm ad, Like a Good Neighbor, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito. Reuniting the Twins actors, the ad relied on Schwarzenegger's accent, humorously mispronouncing the company's slogan. It won the top spot in USA Today's Ad Meter viewer rankings. Verizon, Can't Be Broken ad. This spot featured Beyoncé in a series of increasingly elaborate attempts to break the Verizon network, culminating in her announcing the release of her new album, Cowboy Carter, a major cultural drop timed perfectly to the game. Another iconic ad was for CeraVe, Michael CeraVe, a highly unusual and effective humorous campaign featuring actor Michael Cera in a mockumentary style, claiming to be the source of the cream's moisturizing ingredients, cleverly playing on his name. The most expensive commercial. The title for the most expensive Super Bowl commercial to air often depends on the length and when the price is adjusted for inflation, but a key contender is Amazon's Mind Reader 2022. This 90-second ad for Alexa, starring Scarlett Johansson and Colin Jost, was valued at approximately $26 million for the airtime alone, showcasing the massive investment companies make in these high-stakes, high-visibility moments. As you settle deeper into the quiet, let's shift our focus to the individuals and the specific games that forged the Super Bowl into legend. Tonight, we walk through a whispered Hall of Fame, exploring the calm greatness of the greatest players and the silent moments just before the most dramatic plays. Just ease your mind now, taking a long, quiet breath in and letting everything go. We are focusing only on the quiet perfection, the slow, steady accumulation of legendary status. The foundations were laid with the quiet pioneers, men like Bart Starr and the coach of the Green Bay Packers, Vince Lombardi. Their dominance was built not on shouting, but on discipline and routine, a peaceful, rhythmic commitment to consistency. We recall Super Bowl III in 1969, the New York Jets, led by Joe Namath. Before the game, he predicted a guaranteed victory against the Baltimore Colts, a statement that carried the weight of the entire rival league. He delivered on that promise, a silent yet confident certainty, proving that true resolve often needs no volume at all. Then there was the unparalleled perfection of the 1972 Miami Dolphins. They finished their entire season and won Super Bowl VII without a single loss. 17 wins, 0 losses, a flawless winning streak, the feeling of determined, consistent, perfect execution. Moving into the 80s, we find the true master of stillness, Joe Montana. He earned the nickname Joe Cool because when chaos erupted in the final minutes, he remained entirely unruffled. He was the calm eye in the storm, a steady presence. His favorite target was Jerry Rice, the receiver who perfected his craft in quiet practice, running every route with silent, perfect precision. He moved not with force, but with the soft, gentle perfection of execution, like a silk ribbon unfurling. In Super Bowl XXIII in 1989, Montana orchestrated one of his greatest work, a final drive against the Bengals, 92 yards, with only 34 seconds left. It wasn't a frenzy. It was a deliberate, slow-motion exercise in calm control, culminating in a breathtaking winning touchdown. We also remember Super Bowl XXV in 1991, the entire outcome resting on a final kick by the Buffalo Bills kicker, Scott Norwood. The tension was not loud. It was a palpable silence, the quiet anticipation of the whole stadium, waiting for the sound of the kick. The ball drifted, just wide right. The gentle, quiet sigh of two cities, a moment defined by what did not happen. Before we look at the scale of the spectacle, let's take a peaceful moment to consider the geography, the settings that hosted these great moments. The Super Bowl is nearly always played in warmer climates or contained within a cool, protected dome. It is the final prize of the cold winter season, played beneath warm, gentle sun. Think of the iconic Southern California setting of the very first game, Super Bowl I, the stadium open to the warm Pacific air. And the comforting constancy of cities like Miami and New Orleans, hosts of so many historic battles. Whether it is the gentle breeze of the coastal air or the cool, contained hum of the massive indoor stadium, the location provides a perfect, silent vessel for the loud drama to unfold, always protected, always ready. Looking at the sheer expansion, the exorbitant growth of this enormous event, focusing on the steady scale of its evolution, we begin with the humble origins in 1967. A ticket to the grand spectacle carried a modest, pleasant price, only $12, a value that, when measured in today's currency, translates to around $112, a simple, accessible beginning. Let your mind drift forward to the present day, to Super Bowl 2025, where that humble cost has steadily accumulated, expanding to an average price that rests well above $8,000. This vast and not so subtle expansion in value reflects the game's transformation, shifting from a national championship into a beautiful global phenomenon. The viewership itself is an example of this growth. The first game hosted around 60,000 attendees in the stadium, but today, the broadcast expands, swelling to over 100 million people, all sharing one collective moment of attention, an immense, soothing gathering, as if the whole world is holding its breath at the same time. This brings us to the modern era, dominated by the unmatched longevity of Tom Brady, a man who appeared in 10 Super Bowls, winning 7. Can you imagine the sheer focus required to maintain that level of excellence year after year, always returning to the rhythm of the game? His dynasty began in Super Bowl 36, 2002, against the heavily favored Rams. With the score tied and only a minute and a half left, most expected them to play for overtime, but the young Brady calmly led a final drive, an unexpected, determined push into field goal range. The winning kick sailed through, the unquestionable emergence of a legend. We journey to Super Bowl 51, 2017, a game defined by the climb. The Patriots were trailing the Falcons, 28-3, a deficit so large it seemed impossible. But slowly, deliberately, the diligent mechanics of the Patriots began their ascent, a gradual, determined comeback, like waking slowly from a deep, heavy sleep, finding your strength piece by piece, until they won in overtime. And we revisit Super Bowl 69, 2015. The Seahawks were on the 1-yard line, poised for the easy, expected score. Everyone braced for the run, but then came the surprise, the pass, which was immediately intercepted by Malcolm Butler. A sudden, sharp, yet quiet turn of events. The silence of the collective gasp, a peaceful reminder that the quietest moments hold the biggest surprises. Touching upon the gentle glory of silver, the Vince Lombardi Trophy. Let us drift now to a serene workshop in New England, far away from the roar of the stadium, a place where a legend is slowly, carefully formed. We are thinking about the Vince Lombardi Trophy, not as a prize, but as an object, a sculpture of calm, cold sterling silver. Imagine, if you will, the dimensions. It stands just over 22 inches tall, a little less than 2 feet. If you held it, you would feel it's 7 pounds, just over 3 kilograms, a surprising but manageable weight. It is not impossibly heavy, but it carries the weight of history in its substance. This trophy is crafted by the luxury jewelers at Tiffany & Co., and the process itself is a long, unhurried meditation. It takes approximately 4 months to bring one of these statues to life, a long pause while the world of football speeds by outside. The design itself began with a sketch on a simple cocktail napkin by a vice president of the company, sharing a tranquil lunch with then NFL Commissioner Pete Rozelle in 1967. A simple, elegant beginning for such a grand symbol. The form is clean and recognizable, a regulation-sized football in the kicking position, resting on a stand with 3 concave sides, like 3 gentle, curved faces supporting the promise of the game. The sterling silver is worked by hand. Imagine the careful, rhythmic pressure of the hammer, the soft sound of metal being persuaded into shape. The base begins as a flat sheet, which is cut, rolled, and shaped by artisans who have practiced their craft for years. The most iconic part, the football itself, begins as a simple silver sphere and is slowly spun on a lathe, gently molded until it achieves the perfect asymmetrical shape of an NFL ball, complete with the subtle texture of the seams. Once all the pieces are assembled, they are polished. polished until the surface is so reflective it seems to drink in the light, turning the silver into a cool, luminous white. It reflects the victorious faces of the players and the muted colors of the confetti. Every year, a new trophy is made. Each one is a solitary, hushed duplicate of the one before it, waiting patiently for its moment of glory. Envision reaching out and placing your hand on the cold, smooth silver of the stand, feeling the slight, gentle indentations of the engraving, the Roman numerals, the year, and the names of the winning teams, all inscribed in the cool, hard metal, forever preserved. A tranquil, perfect symbol of a very loud, dramatic game. To understand the genesis of the grandeur of the Super Bowl and that drama's origin, we must step back to the very first time the two leagues met. Let us now travel back in time, allowing our minds to settle on the very beginning. Super Bowl I, played on a sunny afternoon, January 15, 1967, at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum. This was a moment of transition, a game yet to understand its own immense destiny. Visualize the stadium itself, vast, open bowl of concrete and steps, warmed by the Californian sun, a space of immense size. But here is the essential detail for our tranquil journey: the atmosphere. The stadium was not full. Around 33,000 seats sat vacant, empty rows of sun-drenched, terracotta-colored bench seating stretched away from the field. Picture the slow, steady shadow cast by the archways, reaching across the unused space. The stadium's immense size, holding nearly 95,000, felt expansive and underpopulated. The cheers did not rebound with frenzy. They were absorbed by the sheer scale of the space, becoming a mere lullaby of sound carried on the gentle breeze. The low cost of admission, $12, was considered quite steep at the time. The decision to attend was slow and deliberate, not frantic. This was a composed gathering for a championship game yet to earn its reputation for chaos. Another detail of perfect simplicity: the broadcast. This was the only Super Bowl ever to be televised by two rival networks simultaneously, CBS and NBC. Can you envision yourself sitting at home, perhaps in a soft armchair, hearing the competing tones of two different broadcast teams? For CBS, you heard the measured voice of Ray Scott, alongside the familiar, composed tones of Frank Gifford. Across the airwaves, the voice of NBC belonged to Kurt Gowdy, a subtle, almost imperceptible shift in cadence, like listening to two parallel streams of commentary. This dual broadcast was not serene behind the scenes. The competition was palpable. They even constructed a temporary fence between the CBS and NBC production trucks outside the Coliseum, separating the crews in a hushed rivalry of ratings. In the press box, the commentators sat mere feet apart, whispering their descriptions into separate microphones, a duel of distant voices only television could stage. And here is a detail to ponder. In the rush of the era, the tapes from both networks were considered ephemeral, too costly for long-term storage. The original broadcast footage, the very audio we imagine, was largely erased, leaving a void, a tranquil space in the historical record, forcing us to rely on our imagination and the echo of their measured words. And at halftime, the entertainment was innocent and grand. We had the gentle, melodic sound of the trumpeter Al Hirt, the large, rhythmic steps of two university marching bands, and then a moment of extraordinary grace, the gentle, upward rush of 300 white pigeons released into the vast, open sky above the field. An absolute feeling of serenity, a beautiful, hushed spectacle that marked the birth of a legend. The history of the Super Bowl is not complete without the mention of the unshakable sanctuary, the Superdome. From that serene beginning, the game grew, finding its largest, most encompassing homes. Now, let us travel to one of its great engineered sanctuaries. We move forward and across the country to a completely different architectural experience, a building designed to contain all sound and weather. The Superdome in New Orleans. Its shape is instantly recognizable. A colossal, perfect dome, a structure of immense, serene purpose. Unlike the open-air Coliseum, the Superdome is entirely enclosed, a massive, unshakable vessel of engineered space. Picture the construction, the thick, vaulted roof designed to keep the heat and humidity of Louisiana completely out. It is a sealed world where the energy of the game is held in. When the crowd roars in the Superdome, the sound doesn't dissipate. It's captured and multiplied by the curve of the ceiling, creating an enveloping resonance. It is not a sharp, piercing noise, but a warm, deep sound that washes over you, the calm thunder of thousands of voices, all contained. Its size is almost beyond measure. We are told it is so vast, you could fit 4 Boeing 747 jumbo jets inside the dome. Settle your mind on the sheer scale of that tranquil space, the air settling gently over such a tremendous volume. But the most profound aspect of the Superdome is its history as a sanctuary. In times of deep crisis, it has sheltered thousands, transforming from a coliseum of competition to a dome of unshakable safety. It is a concrete monument to resilience. When the fierce Gulf winds rage outside, the structure stands solid and composed, providing a cool, dim, calm shelter. What would it feel like being inside that dome when it is absolutely silent? The heavy, deep stillness, the low, gentle hum of the ventilation system, a haven built for noise, which becomes most compelling and serene in its moments of profound, deep calm. The Super Bowl, a gentle reminder that even the biggest battles, the grandest spectacles, all start quietly, with an agreement, a simple, common name, and a field. Now, let the history settle in your mind. The images of marching bands, the glow of the television screen, the quiet hum of the stadium at night. You are safe here. You are comfortable. Let your breathing slow. I hope these quiet facts from the quiet history of the Super Bowl, mergers, commercials, halftime, ASMR sleep story have brought you peace. Good night, as you drift into deep slumber and sweet dreams.